Hello. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. First thing I want to say is go ahead and share this live. Go ahead and share this live. And after that, I want to say justice for Denzel Duvant. He was wrongfully assaulted and brutalized at the hands of the Rockford Police Department. I want to say justice for Tyrus Jones. He was wrongfully shot and attempted. He had a Rockford Police Department officer attempt to murder him last October. Justice for Faustin Guaitigo, who was murdered inside his own home by Winnebago County Sheriff's deputies. I want to say justice for Jose Gonzalez Jr., who was shot while running away as he was a passenger in an attempted car chase. These all happened in the Rockford area. It's all happened in the Rockford area in the last year or so. And I also want to say justice for the people who were brutalized on May 30th of last year. And justice for the people who was unlawfully arrested and unlawfully sent to jail and were brutalized at the hands of the police at the city market protest last year. And the reason I'm saying these things is because it's all things. I want to say one more thing. Justice for Mark Anthony Barmore, who was murdered by Order Pool and Stan North. And I want to say these things because these are things that have happened in the last year or so. Mark Barmore happened almost a decade ago, or over a decade ago. I want to say these things because these are things that are directly tied to Tom McNamara. These are things that that Tom McNamara directly has his hands on. Tom McNamara, if you haven't seen, WIFR put out a story, made a little Facebook post about how Tom McNamara is considering running for a Sherry Busto spot for Congress. And I feel I felt like this live was necessary because it's important to know if somebody's running for office around you or near you. It's important to know the things that they have done and the things they haven't done. And the things that Tom has done, he's continually weaponized the police out here. Right back behind this building, I was choked by a Rockford police officer. Right back behind this building. Right back behind this building, a black woman was slammed to the ground by two grown men, and she had her head swung up against a pole. Tom McNamara has not come out to condemn those actions. Tom McNamara has not spoken about those actions in any type of way. Tom McNamara instead has chosen to regularly weaponize the police. One of the first things Tom McNamara did when he came into office was he gave Odapool a $700,000 settlement. We are still paying Odapool money today. We are still paying Odapool money today. Think about that. Odapool has 6 cases. 6 cases of firing his gun. 6 different cases. He's shot at people. He's murdered animals. He's murdered people multiple times. Multiple times.
What is this?
I'm live right now. I'm live. I can't have no discussion. You good? You good? You have a good day, bro. You be safe. Be safe out here. And the first thing Tom McNamara does when he gets into office is he gives Odapool a damn near $1 million settlement. Damn near $1 million settlement. He murdered somebody in the basement of a church. Tom got into office, gave him a damn near $1 million settlement. We are still paying him money, and we will continue to pay him money for years to come. For years to come, we're going to pay Odapool money because of a settlement Tom did, one of his first actions when he came into office. So, as we see Tom McNamara try to run for office, it's important to know the things that he has done. What's his track record with things like this? What's his track record with issues like this, when issues arise? And his track record is as terrible as it can be. We have a man sitting up here in this building who hasn't even said Tyrus Jones' name yet. We have a man in this building who hasn't spoken about Jose Gonzalez Jr. at all. Who hasn't spoken about Faustin Guaitigo at all. Who hasn't spoken about Denzel Duvant at all. Instead, what he has done is he has continuously ordered memorials to be torn down and try to profit off them. That's what this man in this building is doing. That's what this man in this building is doing. Sending people out, sending his goons out to come down and tear out memorials. And trying to profit off them. He's trying to make I don't even know the exact amount of number because it is such a high number, the amount of money he's trying to profit off memorials that he has had it torn down damn near a dozen times. damn near a dozen times. Yes, rest in peace, Mikey Guzman. Rest in peace. Rest in heaven, Mikey Guzman. So it's important to look at the track record. When it was a 12-year-old girl that was pepper sprayed, Tom McNamara didn't really have nothing to say about it. When black women were continuously brutalized at the hands of the police, Tom McNamara didn't have nothing to say about it. And instead, what he has done is he has continuously worked with those same police officers. Tom McNamara's person he works with the most, Kurt Wisenhan, he murdered somebody. He murdered somebody. Kurt Wisenhan was in charge of D1 on May 30th, where over 100 people were brutalized at the hands of the police. Tom got out there talking about riots and looting and condemning the riots and looting, and we shouldn't do this as a community, but didn't say nothing about the brutal acts that the police officers took. Didn't do nothing to change the brutal acts of the police officers. So what that has happened in this last year is it's continued. It's just continued. And it's been allowed to build up and foster to where 3 more people have been shot in a year. 3 people have been shot in a year by the police. Tom McNamara hasn't changed one thing. Because he's not interested in change. He's not interested in no improvement. He's not interested in anything else other than to keep the status quo. The man up here, the most important thing to this man up here is his pockets. The most important thing to this man up here is his money. I've seen him be in situations where he's confronted about these issues. I've seen him been in situations where he's confronted about the police terrorism here, and he just shook. I've seen him just shake, like he nervous. He don't know what to do. So when you see this, him potentially running for Congress, I want to make this clear. Not only has he not done things, not only has his inaction spoke volume, not only has his inaction spoke a lot of the way. He's let his inaction take the step forward. But what has he actually done? He's ordered the memorials to be torn down. He's ordered people to be unlawfully arrested right here. I've been unlawfully arrested I think 4 times right here. Right here. Right in this area. Right in front of this building. Right behind this building. 4 different times. 4 different times. So when you have to look at these things and you say, okay, Odapool running for office now, Odapool running for Boone County office, that's connected to Tom McNamara. That's Odapool running for sheriff in Boone County, that's connected to Tom McNamara, because the first thing that Tom McNamara did when he got into office, when he got elected mayor in his first term, was he gave Odapool that settlement. So that means that he has enabled. He gave a murderer damn near over $500,000. He gave a murderer almost $1 million. Think about that. 6 different cases, 6 different times he has shot at somebody. And that's what Tom did. So that means that Tom has enabled Odapool. That means Tom has supported Odapool. That means Tom has Mark Anthony Barmore's blood on his hands. He has his blood on his hands. In the same way with the people who are brutalized on the same goes as the people who were brutalized on May 30th of last year. The over 100 people, the kids, the people, the communities, that whole communities were filled with tear gas. All those communities, their tears, their blood, that's all affected by Tom McNamara. Their blood is on Tom McNamara's hands. Their tears is on Tom McNamara's hands. The people who were unlawfully arrested at City Market last year, and the people who were brutalized by the Rockford Police Department and other police departments in Winnebago County, their blood, their injuries, that's at the hands of Tom McNamara. Their blood is on Tom McNamara's hands as well. When Tyrus Jones got shot, Tom McNamara didn't do anything to reach out to the family. Tom McNamara didn't do anything to offer his support, but he just stood in silence, and let for the case to be ruled justified, just as every other case has been ruled justified before him. So Tom not interested in no changes. Tom not interested in no improvements. Tom not interested in anything like that. But besides keeping the status quo, so where he can profit. Tom not trying to change anything to help y'all. Tom not trying to change anything to help communities. Tom trying to improve his life, improve his buddy's life, improve his friend's life, his family life. Tom don't care about what's happening in the community. Tom don't care about Denzel Duvant. Tom don't care about Tyrus Jones. Tom don't care about Jose Gonzalez Jr. or Fausto Gray Tico. When you weaponize the police, when you send out city workers to come out here and to steal blankets and chairs and hand warmers right before a polar vortex, that's a violent act that this man committed. That is a violent act that this man committed. A dangerous act. Endangering the lives of the people that stayed out here. When you had when you had the canopies torn up and taken away and loaded into paddy wagons, that's a dangerous act. This man has regularly weaponized the police right here in this city, right here in this block. Has regularly. I don't even know how many times he has had the police come out here. But we have seen what the police do. We have seen what the police do to Denzel Duvant. And this is a man who regularly works with them. Regularly works with them, calls them at the drop of the hat. Calls them at the drop of the hat. You should have seen this man walk through the parade. You should have seen this man when he walked through this parade. You could see him seething. You could see him seething as he had to walk past the photo of Denzel Duvant, as he had to walk past people calling on him to address Denzel Duvant being brutalized. You could see him seething as people are calling on him to talk about Fausto Gray Tico. You can see him seething, him almost shaking with rage while people are confronting him with the things that have happened here in Rockford. So when he say he potentially running for Congress, he potentially running for a Cherry Busso spot, this is a man who cares most about himself, who cares most about how he can make himself look good. Tom don't care about community members. Tom don't care how many people get shot by the police. Tom don't care about how many people get brutalized and their faces look like Denzel Duvant, because that's all part of the job to him. That's all part of the status quo. He don't care. This come with it. This is part of the status quo. He not trying to change it or stop it from happening. He not at all. At all. Tom has not done nothing for Denzel Duvant. He passes by his face every single day. He has not said his name. He has not offered his support. He has not done anything to come out and condemn the brutal actions that those officers took that night. He has not done anything to condemn the actions of Owen McGinnis when he shot Jose Gonzalez Jr. Tom has not done anything to condemn the actions of Dominic McNeese when he shot Tyrus Jones while he was running away. So through that inaction, what that really means is, through that inaction, if you don't act on these things, that leads people to think, okay, you fine with it, you support it, you like it, you support it. And that leads, when you continuously allow these things to happen, when you continuously let these things foster and build up, all that really mean is you support it. Look at who we work with. He worked with Kurt Wisenhan. He a murderer. He had Mike Dalkey coming in here. Mike Dalkey justified the brutal nature of arrests for black women last year during City Market. So this is a dangerous man. This is a dangerous man. And he's not... I've said this sometimes when talking about community members, that there ain't no more time to be in the middle. There's not no time to be in the middle, to be on the fence. There's not no time to play both sides. There's not no time to be moderate right now. What you say? Yeah, no, I don't know where it is. I haven't seen no charger. I don't know. He ain't been here for a little bit. He should be back later. Alright. So, it's important to look. This might be it. It's important to look at the track record of these things. What's Tom's track record? What has Tom done? What has Tom done? Justify the police terrorism and the brutal actions on May 30th. Justify the brutal natures and the unlawful and unjust arrests in our city market. He okay with the shooting of Tyrus Jones. He okay with the shooting, the murder of Austin Gray Tico. He okay with the shooting of Jose Gonzalez Jr. He okay with the assault on Denzel Duvant. He has ordered memorials of people his police officers have killed. He has ordered those memorials to be torn down on a regular basis. He has had blankets and had 4 a.m. raids orchestrated right here in front of City Hall. He has had a black woman arrested right on the back of City Hall parking lot. Right in City Hall sidewalk back there. A black woman was arrested, her head swung up against a pole. Slammed to the ground by grown-ass men, by 250-pound men that slammed to the ground. Right in the back of City Hall. Right in the back of City Hall. Tom didn't say one word about it. Not one word about it. It's brutal actions that have happened right here on these doorsteps, right here in front of this building right here. Tom has not said one word about it. And that's dangerous. That is a dangerous thing, because if you don't say anything about it, and if you don't condemn it, and if you don't speak out against it, then it just continued to happen. Look at what has happened since then. It's been more unlawful arrests. It's been people arrested on warrants right before City Market because Tom and Todd Cagnoni have a vested interest in making sure City Market go okay. Tom and Todd Cagnoni have a vested interest in making sure City Market making the most amount of money. So he has weaponized the police and these unlawful and unjust warrants to happen, so where people can't be at the City Market protests. He has allowed Tom McNamara and Todd Cagnoni has worked hand in hand with City Market organizers to make the City Market footprint a place where you can't exercise your First Amendment rights or you're going to be arrested. Think about that. That is a culture that Tom has helped create. That is a culture that Tom has helped foster, to where you can't even be at City Market and say Denzel Duvant's name. You can't even be at City Market and write in chalk. You can't even be in City Market and use a megaphone. You can't even be in City Market and talk about Tyrus Jones. You can't even be in City Market and do those things. Police officers last week, they had told the woman that she can't talk to me, otherwise she might be subject to arrest. Think about that. This culture that Tom has fostered, along with City Market organizers, has led the police to say to people that they cannot even talk to me, otherwise they'd be subject to arrest. This is a dangerous man. This is a dangerous man who will lie to you and tell you about, oh, we're making progress, when really what he's doing is pulling out old things that old past mayors have done. When you have a mayor that don't address these police shootings, when you have a mayor that don't address the police terrorism, when you have a mayor who don't come out and talk about the unlawful conditions, the cruel and unusual conditions inside the Winnebago County Jail, it's dangerous. It's dangerous because all you're doing is letting this become more and more of a police state. After day 100, when they came, Tom McNamara and other city workers had the canopies taken, had the canopies loaded into paddy wagons stolen from us. It was police officers in this parking lot for the next days when people arrived at work or when people were leaving work. So when you're looking at Tom McNamara's track record as he's potentially running for Congress, when you look at Tom McNamara's history of these things as he's potentially running for Congress, the things he has done, gave Odapool a damn near $1 million settlement. Probably, you know what, now that I'm thinking about it, it's probably worth over $1 million. The settlement is probably worth over $1 million because the actual settlement was for $700,000 to be paid out over 4 years. And the last year is 2021. But also part of the settlement, I believe it was 10 years of free, 10 years the city of Rockford is going to pay for Odapu's health care. So I believe all in all, together is over $1 million. Over $1 million that he gave to somebody who murdered somebody in the basement of a church. Probably worth over $1 million that he gave to somebody who murdered somebody in front of children. In front of children. So Tom's track record already got Mark Anthony Barmore blood on his hands. He gave his murderer probably damn near worth over $1 million. Tom McNamara refused to condemn the police terrorism that took place on May 30th of 2020. So that means the over hundreds of people who were brutalized that day, their blood, their tears, that's all the hands of Tom McNamara. He's got their blood and their tears on their hands. The communities that was filled with tear gas, Tom McNamara okay with that. The unlawful arrest during City Market, the people being brutalized by grown men, the woman being picked up and slammed to the ground by grown-ass men. Tom McNamara didn't condemn that or speak out about that in any type of way. The children that was pepper sprayed, Tom McNamara didn't really speak out about that in any type of way to where it would create any type of change. The police then on October 2nd, Tyrus Jones gets shot while running away unarmed. Tom McNamara hasn't said his name yet. That is a moral coward. That is a coward. Can't even say this man's name yet. Can't even say this young man's name. That's a moral coward. Shot him 5 times while he's running away. Then what happened? You orders the unlawful arrest of people right here who are speaking out and saying Tyrus Jones' name and speaking out for justice for Tyrus Jones, speaking out and condemning the actions that Dominic McNeese took that day. He had those people arrested. Think about that. That's Tom's response to a police shooting right here in Rockford. Don't say his name, don't say the officer's name, and maybe release a statement that don't really say nothing. That's Tom McNamara's response to a police shooting. And have people arrested who speak about it. Have people arrested who are calling for accountability on this action. Have people arrested for talking about Tyrus Jones. Have people arrested for talking about how nobody should be shot by the police. And damn sure, nobody should be shot by the police for running away while they're unarmed. Tom McNamara's response to that shooting is to have those people arrested. So when the next shooting came around and Faustin Guetiga was murdered, then Jose Gonzalez Jr. was murdered the next day, Tom McNamara had sent out his city workers to come out here and to wash away chalk that said justice for Faustin, to wash away chalk that said justice for Jose, to wash away chalk that said justice for Mark Anthony Barmore, and the other people whose names and faces on these poles, who had all died by the hands of police officers right here in the Rockford area. Think about that. Think about that. That's Tom's response to a police shooting. Don't say their name. Don't talk about it really. Hope it'll go away. And if anybody do talk about it, if anybody do try to raise an awareness or have a conversation about it, have those people arrested. Have those people arrested. Send those people to jail. No matter what charges they may be. No matter what charges they may be. And what happened next? What happened next? Tom McNamara continuously orders these memorials to be torn down. But that's not good enough for him. That's not good enough for the people inside City Hall. What he do next is he began to charge people city ordinance violations for the memorials. Trying to charge people. Let me wait for this ambulance to go alive. Just having the memorials torn down, that wasn't good enough for him. He started charging people city ordinance violations for the memorials. The amount of money they are seeking Right now, I believe for one of the times that they were put up, they charged me with 10 counts for each memorial, 10 counts per day, $750 per day, and they was up for 6 days. I'm not even sure. I can't even say the math on that off the top of my head. Can't even say the amount of money they are charging, they are seeking to make off memorials. It's not enough that Rockford Police Department officers killed some of these people. It's not enough that some of these people died in the Winnebago County Jail. It's not enough that some of these people died at the hands of police officers who regularly work with the Rockford Police Department. Tom also had to try to make money off it. Tom also had to try to profit off it. That's what he's doing. That's what this man is up here scheming. That's what this man is up here scheming and doing. Trying to figure out how to profit off of memorials. That is a disgusting act. That is an absolute disgusting act. You're trying to make money and profit off of memorials? Off of memorials. But that's the mayor that's trying to run for Congress. That's the mayor that's trying to continue his political career. Mark Anthony Barmore's blood is on his hands. Jose Gonzalez Jr.'s blood is on his hands. Denzel Duvant's blood is on his hands. Faustin Guetigo's blood is on his hands. Tyrus Jones' blood is on his hands. Kerry Blake's blood is on his hands. Kerry Blake was murdered while Tom was in office. Eddie Patterson was murdered while Tom was in office. Gina Washington died inside the Winnebago County Jail while Tom was in office. Joseph McCormick died inside the Winnebago County Jail while Tom was in office. Faustin Guetigo. But what has Tom done for those families? What has Tom done to positively impact those families? What has Tom done to create change to where those police shootings won't happen no more? What has Tom done to improve to make sure that nobody die inside the Winnebago County Jail? What has Tom done to do that? What has Tom done to have those things taking place? What has Tom done to make sure that nobody is What has Tom done to make sure nobody is brutally arrested or unlawfully arrested at the hands of the Rockford Police Department? Not a damn thing. In fact, Tom has done the exact opposite. The exact opposite. The exact opposite. That's what this man in this building is out here doing. Regularly weaponizing the police, having the memorials torn down on a regular basis, trying to profit off of those memorials, having people arrested on false warrants just so he can make sure City Market go off in the way that he wanted to go, just so he can make the most amount of money off of City Market, just so him and Todd Cagnoni, as well as the rest of the City Market organizers, can make the most amount of money off City Market. That's what Tom is doing. That's what Tom has had happen in this community. That's what Tom has done in Rockford. Nothing for Jose Gonzalez Jr., nothing for Tyrus Jones, nothing for Mark Anthony Barmore, nothing for Faustin Guetigo, nothing for Denzel Duvant, nothing for the people, nothing for myself when I was choked out by a Rockford Police Department officer right back there. Nothing for the young woman who had her head swung up against a pole right back there, right back behind this building. Nothing for them. Nothing for the people who was arrested last year during City Market. Nothing for the people who were brutalized in the communities that were brutalized at the hands of the Rockford Police Department on May 30th of last year. In fact, Tom has just kept the status quo. Just keep the status quo. Keep the status quo. It don't matter that more people are being brutalized. It don't matter that it's been three people have been shot in less than a year at the hands of the Rockford Police Department, at the hands of police departments in Winnebago County. It don't matter that people continuously being unlawfully arrested. It don't matter to Tom. That's who's trying to run for Congress. Bloody track record. Bloody track record. I'm going to end on that. Faustin Guetigo's blood is on his hands. Mark Anthony Barmore's blood is on his hands. Tyrus Jones' blood is on his hands. Denzel Duvant's blood is on Tom McNamara's hands. some moral coward.